Naveen, we'll start. Naveen, shall we start now?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll start. Let them join. Okay.
Sure.
Good afternoon, participants, and good afternoon, the resource person. Actually, the session is going to be given by Mr. G. Naveen Kumar and Ms. Nandini Polam Reddy, and it is going to be on web pen testing. We all know it is to check for exploitable vulnerabilities. So it will give the assurance that applications are free from vulnerabilities, which could lead to series of breaches. So actually, the session is going to be on web pen testing, and the resource persons are Mr. G. Naveen Kumar and Ms. Nandini Polam Reddy. Before I hand over the session to them, let me say some words about them. Mr. G. Naveen Kumar, currently he is security consultant at CSCC Labs, Hyderabad. He has completed post-graduation in cybersecurity at CDAC Bangalore and completed graduation in engineering in SK University, Anantapur. His skills are, he has trained almost 1,200 and odd students virtually in cybersecurity, national and international level speaker in cybersecurity. He is expert in network security and ethical hacking and almost all cybersecurity topics. He is well versed, and he won Junior Scientist Award at graduation days, integrating AI with Motas, DNS Excellence Award in the year 2019 for creating 14th root server. His industrial experiences are, he has 2 years experience in CSCC Labs as a security consultant, and his areas are network department head, trainer, speaker, and CTF creator, and 1.5 years, 1.5 years experience in HCL Technologies, KPMG, as a system administrator in World Trade Center, Bangalore, maintaining servers, configuring routers, firewalls, switch Wi-Fi, log monitoring of servers and tickets. On behalf of a department, I'm extremely happy in welcoming the resource person, Mr. G. Naveen Kumar. Welcome, Mr. Naveen.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Let me say some words about Ms. Nandini Polam Reddy. He is currently data security analyst at CSCC Labs, Hyderabad. He holds post-graduation program in MBA and data analytics. Her skills are pen testing, in protection, creating CTF missions, online training. Certifications are, she is a certified ethical hacker, and she holds 1+ years of experience in CSCC Labs as a data security analyst. Welcome, Ms. Nandini Polam Reddy.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now I hand over the session to Mr. Naveen.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for introducing us. It has a warm. We are so surprised and we are so happy to hear some platform. And first of all, I need to say the thank you for the BU Bharatiya University for organizing this wonderful 20 days workshop, like seminars and webinars. So, and this webinar, and as we included that the CSCC Labs in the part of the 2 days, it is so lucky for us to introduce for ourselves also to somewhat the cyber awareness in this program. So we will try our level best to give how much we can possible to deliver in these 4 hours. So we will try to do this, ma'am. Thank you for keeping the efforts. Thank you for all the things which you supported still now, and we will do this 4 hours training program. Guys, hi, this is Naveen. I'm from CSCC Labs, and as ma'am said, I'm a security consultant in the CSCC Labs. So today I'm going to discuss somewhat on the web application testings and some deep technical analysis of how the real hackers or how the attackers are doing to get some kind of an application attacks, and how they will get beneficial from the amount wise, and these kind of things I'm going to discuss. So today and the tomorrow class. So before that, let me give you permission to go for a slides sharing. Yeah, I have a permission. Yeah, give me a second. Yes. Guys, I think it is visible to you. So today the topic was the web application testing, like we can call it the web penetration testing, and timing for the 3:30 to 5:30, and delivered by myself Naveen and Nandini Kolam Reddy. So let's go on for our topic. So what we are, and as I said that I am a security consultant in the CSS labs and almost a couple of years experience in this one, and trained so many 1200 plus students in the fields of cyber security. So who is the backbone for my dispatch of contribution is the CSS labs one and only company. So what the CSS labs and what we are going to do delivery is for. The CSS labs is a team of an expertise in cyber security field who are the passionate about providing the integrated security services to the organizations like pharma industries and big communication industries and like any kind of. We are happy to say that we have been almost all secured so many government projects and so many integrated government and private projects and the private corporate integrations. So we have been secured almost all so many members of an sensitive data, and we have been hardened the servers and so many things we have been achieved in these things. And so this is all about success for the past 2 years, and we have a multiple of clients. So what is the back end for this? How much clients, so many clients, and the government projects and private projects is coming to me as means we have some integrated services here which deals all entire cybersecurity services in one company. So that is our CSCC labs. And we have a main three pillars called preventive, detective, and the protective. So each preventive and detective and protective has categorized into several services. So no need to go for any company like a third-party company for nothing. So if you just come to the CSS labs, and we will provide you all the type of cybersecurity services under one roof, which is a cost efficient. Please make it down. So why I'm saying this company CSS Labs means beyond this, why? Because this is a company we got the platform to enhance our skills, and this is a CSS Labs will give a chance for the Bharatiya University trained almost all 1 year, and this is the second year running going on. So that much of a contribution from the CSS Labs, and I was thank you for the CSS Labs and Bharatiya University for giving this wonderful opportunity for exposing my enhancing the skills and learning self-learning, and the students are teaching to me and I'm teaching to the students. So like a mutual communication has been happened, as a bond has happened. So thank you, and let's go for today's business. So what's the today's business means? And we already spoken like we are dealing with web applications, right? So some people didn't know about the what is a web application. So I will explain what is a web application. Nothing but the GUI what you're seeing in the browser. It's called a web application. If you type the google.com in the browser, so one search engine page will come, right? HTML page. That is a web application, right? So whatever you're typing, like flipkart.com, amazon.com, like any kind of websites what you are approaching in the browser, so it's called web applications. So it's GUI you will get. And what is a working backend concept? For an example, I typed the csslabs.com in my browser. If I type the csslabs.com, so the CSS Labs website, I'm able to get it. So how my previous web page has been loaded in my web server. Okay, so that is the one case. I will explain you how it will be loads. And the second one is why these web applications are attacked so much. If you see the cybersecurity attacks in the past 2 or 3 years in the pandemic times, maximum web application, websites, servers has all been compromised. If you see the news daily, the big companies is going to undergo Indian cyber attacks. So how? What is the backend? So how the attackers are targeting those kind of websites, those kind of servers to down? How the target? How the attackers? How the hackers is going to achieve these kind of technology? So in this one, today we are going to discuss the top 10 attacks. So how the attackers are going to do the real type of attacks on a web application. So those things I will explain in this now. Before that, I have this one question. So now you all guys clear about what is a web application, right? And now you all guys get to know about why the attackers are targeted the web application. Okay. The third question was, I need to say, why do attackers target the web application? Why do the attackers targeted the web application? Okay, I will explain that. If the attacker is, for me, example, you and me. Okay, I'm an hacker, so I'm an attacker. So I want to target you. So how can I target you? I don't know your name and I don't know your any details. Just I know the company name. I know the company which you are working. What you are working. Okay. So as earlier, the Prashant has taken the one session on the social reconnaissance on the by just taking the name and he dragged the email and contact number and everything, right? Like what Prashant is did in the older session, earlier sessions. The same way, the attacker can get the names, contact numbers, email IDs of the person. That is the first. The second one is I was a personal grudge on the company to compromise. So for an example, A and B, two companies has been started together. Okay. Now A company has given the more profits and the B company has going to get a little bit down. So B company, what they will do? They will do some cyber attacks on the A company and they will lose their reputations. If the once A company has lost their reputations, what will happen? The B company will going to get rise, right? The same way. And third scenario was the attackers. What the attackers will do? The attackers' intention was to compromise the website and gain the amount or money or else ransom or cryptocurrency or any kind of currency. Okay, so this is the maximum chances of doing the attackers to gain the money or else to do the reputation loss for any websites. So that is the one thing of the why do attackers target the web application. So here are the some 4 bullet points is there and why the only attackers is targeted on the web application. First one, primary contact to publish. Okay, if a person is there, if I want to do any recurrences on the person, so what I have to do? I have to go for his name, his mobile number, email ID, and then I have to create some payloads to compromise, to attract the payloads. And once you click the payload, that's it. The computer or else the mobile is going to be compromised. So that is different case. In this case, the attacker is trying to compromise a web application. So here, no human interface. It's all depends upon the code which you developed in the web application. And here the attacker sending the request and payloads. Okay. Next, the primary contact to publish. So what is this primary contact to publish means? I'm the Navin. I'm from csslabs.com. So if I say this word, how you will how you will verify? You will just go to Google and Navin csslabs.com. You will type. And by getting the results, you will confirm that, okay, this person is coming from a CSS Labs. The same way, now I am the attacker. I have created one post. Hi guys, if you are facing any issues with some kind of phishing mails or else, so just please do drop a mail to me and I will resolve it. So like this, he will mention one web application and he will post it on. So what you will think? Okay, this guy has published it in the web in the Google or else in the internet. So it is better to contact him. So you guys will contact him like that, and the attacker will ask so many questions and he will give all the answers. Done. So that is one kind of recurrences and manipulating the victims to convert into the victims to submit their details. That is a primary contact to publish. The second one, internet resource data. So what is this internet resource data? Okay, if I'm in Coimbatore, okay, I don't know how to go from I was just landed in the Coimbatore airport. I don't know how to go for a Coimbatore Bharatiya University. So what I will do? I will just open the Bharatiya University and just directly navigate. So here, every person is completely dependent on the internet. So internet makes me smooth and easier. In the meantime, the internet is making to be more complicated. There is a lot of chances to hack my mobiles. If any person will give a fake website, okay. So if I click that website now, then what will happen? A lot of malicious activities can happen on my mobile. It's completely compromised. So that's why the internet resource of the data is most available in the internet and the web application forms. If take an example, any kind of data, if you just go for Google and type this one, any data, like when will be the third wave will starts, number of articles will become. If you open any one article, it will redirect to that person web application. So for any web application of any data, it will be internet resource data is a key mandatory. And the next one, third point, communication medium. So what is this communication medium? So we all know here, and I'm sits in Hyderabad and you sits in the Coimbatore. So how we are communicating now? So through the online. So now I'm using some Zoom platform or some YouTube. So what will happen here? This is my communication medium, and I'm here sitting and I'm delivering my speeches, and you guys are listening through the internet, over the internet, and through the Zoom or else this YouTube. Right? The communication medium has been enlarged. That is a one way. And second one, availability of internet is many folds increased than previous years from food to rocket science. So as I said right earlier, so I don't know how to make a Maggie. So I'll just type Maggie. That's it. The 2 minutes videos, 3 minutes video, I will get to know. So if I open that one, done. My food is prepared. If I don't know how the rocket works, so if I just go for any YouTube or some any kind of applications, how the rocket works, they will give some brief, some 10 to 15 lines or some kind of a book they will provide you how the rocket science will work. So for anything, whatever we are going, it's all completely dependent on the web applications. So now we know, right, how much we are dependent on web applications. If any person has dependent on the web application, that means that web application has that much of priority. So if anything, if any application or if anything has a high priority, then what will happen? Automatically, the bad guys will turn into the compromises. The same way, like the gold. I just bought the gold and I'm traveling from my location to another location. Okay. So the attacker is seen, the thief has seen my gold, where I kept and all. So in the chance, by the way, and he beaten me and he theft the gold. The same way, the gold is a web application and the person I'm taking the gold, right? So you guys are all the users or the people who are the browsing the internet. So the thief means an attacker. So now what will happen? The attackers will try to compromise your way, the request. So as I said earlier, if you go for a previous scenarios, so by using some kind of links, the attacker can get you credentials, right? So if you have attended the last previous seminars, so just he will send one link. That link it will looks like pure legitimate links. But what will happen? The attacker can get all the credentials back to his. Okay. That is a one kind of an attack. Now, same attack it's already done, and now how the professionals and how the real kind of attackers will do this web application. So before the web application, let's give some statistics of web application attacks and how many web application are there in the Google. Just I type this one in the Google and here the output. Almost all 1.7 billion websites. All the persons, any one person can able to open the website freely, right? So any person can able to open the website in the freely for 1 month or according to their realities. So if 1.7 billion websites is there, then how much website has been secured? So does anyone know here what is in a secure coding? So we all know that the coding is like a Java, Python, C, any kind of job. By taking the codes, and we can deliver our outputs, the connecting the database and everything done. So as a professional, that's done. So nowadays, security is most important. So the way of secure coding, the way of secure code review is emerging into now. Okay, so how many web applications has been secured? This is the latest report of an Academics, which they have been given that 46% of websites has high security vulnerabilities. Like you all know what is high security vulnerabilities. Like if you click this website, the entire server is going to be compromised. So that type of high security vulnerabilities. And 87% of websites has a medium security vulnerabilities. And 30% of web application has cross-site scripting attack, XSS. So what is this XSS attack? So it's a cross-site scripting attack, and it's only the Nandini will going to deliver what is the cross-site scripting and all. Let's move on one more thing. The statistics of web application attacks. So this statistics is based on the US government and US countries. So based on the Academics research, 30,000 websites has been hacked every day. So almost 30,000 websites are hacked every day. The 2020 was a recorded year of a DDoS attack. So why this 2020 has been targeted? So if you see in the black mark of history, the a number of cyber attacks has been happened in the pandemic years. So why? Because all the members are turned into an online educations. So once online education is there, the peoples will try to connect the internet, okay, and installing the third-party applications and doing some kind of playing the games, online games, and so many things, like seeing the ads. And what will happen by seeing those kind of freewares means the no application can give you freely. There will be some intention behind the application. So grabs and think and use that type of applications. Next, 78% of organizations in the US has been experienced a cyber attack in the past year. And 1/3 of the US consumers were affected by the data breaches in 2020. So these are just data about the US government. So what about the actual data from our India? So the India has been seen a worst cyber attacks. And now how it will happen means in villages also it's kind of a phishing attack is coming here. So they by doing the NGROC server. It has been reported. Like what will happen means they created the Facebook accounts, the fake Facebook accounts, okay, and they're blackmailing the other persons by sending some kind of unknown pictures and private pictures. So this is a worst thing. It's happening on the low level as for a normal persons. If you go for a high level, that's organizational level. If you open the research on the Indian cyber attacks, there will be an n number of attacks has been happened in these days. So one company is there. The company is trying to, it's big company, the pharma company. The company is trying to build it's vaccine. Okay. So that company has been affected with some kind of a virus. Gone. Entire database has been gone, and that company is withdrawn from the creating the vaccine. So that much of a big impacts will happen. What does this impact means? Just based on our web application, that leads in an entire compromise of database. So this all for my side. And one more thing, why this web application security is, I am saying this much means one thing. If you study any language, if you go for any subject, if you go for any topic, okay. For an example, if you go for a development, the Java or Python, any kind of things, so you learn that one. And what is our next step after this graduation? You guys have to go for work from some other companies. You have to work under some companies. So if you have an extra skills, if you go for a freelance, okay. But this cyber security, and especially in the web application penetration testing, if you have any skills, no need to go for any kind of jobs. There is a number of jobs is already available over there. If you find a bug means like a security flaws, security loophole in the web application, they will give you an amount. That is a bug bounty. So luckily tomorrow we have the bug bounty. So how the ethical hackers, like our good peoples, how the good peoples find the security flaws in a web application and how they will report and how they will get money. They don't work under one company. If they have any skills, they have to find the flaws and submitted the flaws. According to the flaws severity, they will get the bounty. So right, nice, right? So no need to work under someone others. So you can create your own money. You can earn by your own self. So those things tomorrow is going to be done. But before that going to learn, this web application, this session is a base. So without this base, you can't achieve the tomorrow's class. So listen carefully this, and what we are going to teach in this one is, there is some OS top 10 attacks is there. In the top 10, all the top 10 attacks you will get like how many, what is the OS top 10 attacks and how the attackers is targeted the web application. And Nandini is going to say clearly on each and every topic related on this one. And if you have any queries in the middle, so just please let me know or raise the hand. We are happy to resolve your queries. So Nandini, can you please take on the session?
Yes, Naveen, and thank you very much, Naveen. First of all, I would like to thank Ms. Punitavalli ma'am for giving a great opportunity for me. And hi everyone, I am Nandini from CRCC Labs, and I am welcoming all of you people for the 20-day cybersecurity webinar. And good afternoon. And today I'm going to cover these topics like web application, HTTP protocol, OWASP, and burp suite. So how a web application is working, we'll discuss now. And how HTTP will work, and the request and the form of HTTP is working through the web server, and all we will discuss, and the OWASP top 10 attacks and why OWASP, and how it is selecting top 10 vulnerabilities in the basis of what, the basis of what measurements, burp suite, and we will be discussing few tools in burp suite. So when coming to the web application, so we'll be discussing what is web application and examples of web application and how does a web application works. So coming to the what is web application, it is a computer program that utilizes web server and web technologies to perform tasks. It is an application software that runs on a server. So we can access a web application by using an internet connection. So how we are using internet connection to make the communication between web application and web server is if a user will create a request to the web server with the help of the internet to the application by using user interface. And what will the web server will do means it will send the request to the web application server. So the server executes the requested task and it generates the result of required data. So it will the web server will gather all information like what is client required from the web server. It will gather each and every information, and then it will display on the client browser. Like this way, it will work in backend. And the examples of web server is webmail, WordPress, and spreadsheet videos and audio edits. These are some of the few examples of the web application. So when coming to the HTTP protocol, why mainly HTTP protocol we will discuss here is the communication of web application and web server by using HTTP protocol. When coming to the HTTP protocol is an application layer protocol in the Internet Protocol Suite model for distributing, collaborating, hypermedia, and information systems. So here you can able to see the diagram of client and server. So if the client will send the request to the server and server will send the response. So we have some specific kind of request messages based on these request messages form, the client is sending the request to the server and server will respond some of the messages like request. So we'll see what is the request messages and what are all the response and status codes and all we'll discuss. See, I am intercepting this CSCC labs in burp suite. If I on intercept on, then if I will refresh the web page, this is the request from web application. So I'll send this to the repeater. This is the one of the tool that is frequently using in burp suite. We will discuss this repeater in when we are going to discuss about burp suite. So can you understand this? So what is GET and HTTP and all? So GET is the method of HTTP protocol, means that the method is used to retrieve information from the given server based on the URL. So I have requested CSCC labs page in the application and this is based on the URL. It is getting this method And so that HTTP request method user get for only to retrieve the data. Get method don't affect any other kind of the data. So we have three request messages. We are calling it as an methods also. So get method, post method, and head method. Head method is also like get method, but it transfers the state line and header section. When coming to the post method is used when we want to send some data to the server, like for example, file update or file data and computer information like HTTP forms, HTML forms. We can send by using this post method. So a verb indicating the method of HTTP, indicating the HTTP method. The most common used method is this one, get, whose function is retrieves a source of information from web server. Get requests do not have message body, so there is no further following the blank line after the message headers. The requested URL, sometimes here there may be some of the parameters will come and the path of the source of the web browsers will come. Sometimes it will come, sometimes it won't come. It will be coming like this. Let me forward this request. We can able to see. See, here the URL came like this way, it will come. If we forwarded this, we will be getting post method. If we keep on forwarding this, see, this is the URL, and we can say this is the path of the source of web server, and this question mark character is a query character in the URL, and in the example, it is a single parameter. It is a single parameter, and we can say these are the headers, and let us see how the response will look like. So this is the response, and this is the 200. Okay, we'll be discussing one by one what is post and what is accept language and what is this accept encoding and all. We'll discuss now. So what is host means? Host is request the domain name of the server and the TCP port number sometimes. So TCP port means if the web server is listening to the particular port, it will come. It is omitted because if the web server uses standard port number, it will be omitted. For the service request, when coming to the user agent, it is a characteristics of strings. Whatever user agent will do is that let server and network peers to identify the application and operating systems, vendor, or the version of the request by using user agent. When coming to the accept, it is a media type or acceptable for the response. What is media type means? It indicates the nature of the format of document file. It indicates the nature of the format of the document file, and it is defined the standardized the Internet Engineering Task Force. And when coming to the accept language, this is used for the HTTP header advertisers which language the client is able to understand and which locate the variant is preferred. And by the languages means natural languages such as English and not the programming languages. When coming to the accept encoding, advertisers, it is using for the advertisers which content encoding usually compromises the algorithms so that the client is able to understand. When coming to the content encoding means is mainly used to compress the message data without losing the information about the original media type. And when coming to the cache control, so it is used to specify the directories that must be obeyed by the all cache mechanism that the request and response chain. We will be having this cache control here and sometimes it will be here also. See, here also we have cache control. And when coming to the content length, the length of the request of body in octet. So when let us go for the response. So here we have this HTTP 1.1 and 200. Okay. So along with 200, we are calling this 200, 101 as web status codes. These are the web status codes. We have 200, 3013, 302, 403, 404, 500. Along with this, we have few more also. But mainly we are saying in whenever we are doing web application pen testing, so we are most probably seeing these kind of codes only. So we'll discuss one by one. First, let me discuss this, what is there in response. Same as in host headers in request or same in response also, but few may be changed. And this is the version of the protocol and the date that we have requested by in this date, and the server is responding from this, and the connection it expires in this time. And like this way we have we will having these kind of headers here, and we are going to discuss this status codes. 200 is okay means the request has been successed from the server. So 301 means that move request page to the other URL, means it moved permanently to the other URL. 302 means found, like it moves the URL for the temporary and temporary purpose. It will move the URL and it is saving into the other folder. 403 is forbidden, means that the access is forbidden to the request page. 404 is error. The server cannot find the request page. So 500 is an internal server error, means the request was not completed. The server met for an unexpected condition. So here let us go and discuss the differences between get and post. So the get can be bookmarked and the parameters remains in browsing history. We can see the parameters over here in HTTP history. See, these are the parameters or remains in history. And data is visible to everyone in the URL, and it has limit to the length of the values. Generally, the maximum length of the get request get characters is 2048 characters. And when coming to the post, it cannot be bookmarked. Parameters are not saved in the browser history. Data is not displayed in the URL, and it doesn't save it doesn't have any limitation length of the values. So nowadays, present corporated companies comparing the web application security with any international security standards like OWASP, SANS, and GDPR. To know how to secure the web application is, and how they will be, and how we will be discussing by taking OWASP.
Yes. So exactly, Nandini. So what they are doing, it's like an OWASP is like a community. So where you will get all the major application threads, and it will be reports. Like it's like a company. It's like an what I said, that community. So in that community, so they will gather the number of an attacks happens on the applications. So for an example, my web application, I have five web applications. Okay, so in all the web applications attacked, the SQL injection attack has been occurred. So what is SQL injection? The beyond sense next to it will get learned. So SQL injection is attacked, and the rest three applications cross-site scripting attack has been occurred, and one application DOS attack, like kind of an attack has been occurred. Now, what the OS people's community will take is these five applications, web application, they will take into priority. And if they want to categorize it, the severity, like kind of way, the first severity they will give a SQL injection attack. So why? Because these five attacks has been occurred on all the five web application, right? So first priority will goes for an SQL injection attack, and second attack is goes for a cross-site scripting. Third will goes for a DOS attack, like as I said in example. The same way, now here example I take in the five web applications. So here in the WASP, they will take some number of thousands web applications. They will collect all the vulnerability which has been occurred in the 3 years. Okay, according to that, they will categorize into top 10 attacks. So here in this scenario, I said only the 3 attacks, right? So actually there is a top 10 attacks with there. See guys, the web application attacks OASP is there, right? It's not only binds within a web application. The OS can deals with an AWS, and next deals with an mobiles, IoT, and it will delivers number of platforms, like top 10 attacks it will use to you. So that is a small intro on the OS. Nandini, can you please continue?
Yes, Naveen. So this OWASP is one of the top 10. It's a community project, and this is the international standard security project. And we will be discussing OWASP and what is OWASP, but on what basis did OWASP is selecting top 10 vulnerabilities, like how many years it will select, and then all we will discuss it. We'll discuss now. So OWASP is an open web application security project, is an international non-profit organization dedicated to the web application security, and it is an open community model. Here, everyone can participate and contribute projects, events, online chats, and more information also available in if you go and search by using this URL. So when coming to next one, how it is selecting, by which measurements it is selecting. Every 2 years, what they are doing is OWASP website is providing ranking of remediation guidance for the most critical web application security risk. It is based on the consequences among the security experts around the world. So what are all the measurements that they are considering for the risk is frequency of discovered security defects, and the second one is severity of the vulnerabilities, and the final one is magnitude of the potential impacts. Like this, based on these kind of measurements, they are selecting the top 10 vulnerabilities for every 2 to 3 years. Now they have selected some kind of vulnerabilities in 2013. It has changed for the changed to the 2017. Now it is changed for the 2021. Because now they didn't announce it officially, but they have decided some of the vulnerable top 10 vulnerabilities. You can able to see that when they have published by officially by OWASP. So when coming to the next, these are the top 10 vulnerabilities nowadays. So one is injection, second one is broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, XML external entities, that is called XSC, and broken access control, security misconfiguration, cross-site scripting, insecure deceleration using components with known vulnerabilities, insufficient logging and monitoring. So we will be discuss one by one with examples on how we can prevent it. So first one is SQL injection. as Naveen said that this is the most vulnerability from past so many years. So injection attack happens when an untrusted data is sent to a code interpreter to a form of input or some other data submissions to a web application. So interpreter means is a translator that repeatedly reads the instructions and translate them to a mission code language. So when coming to the data, untrusted data means the data which can be controlled by a user. So for example, if an attacker wants to access into a SQL database, he uses SQL database code rather than using the plain text username. If the input form is not secured, which means the attacker using some form, for example, some application form, so he want to do injection attack. What he will do, he will inject the SQL code rather than using some plain text. So plain text means like Nandini, it's a plain text. If he uses 1 equal to 1 or true or hyphen quotations, these are and all will comes under the untrusted data. So if the form is not secure, the code injection will be executed. Then he can get the access to the SQL database, and he can see what are all the things and what are all the columns and what are their usernames, passwords, and everything, every information he can able to see that are presented in SQL database. So how we can prevent this SQL injection is we can prevent it by validating and sanitizing user submitted data. So validation means rejecting suspicious of looking data, and sanitization means refers to clean up the suspicious looking parts of the data. And finally, in addition, what we will suggest to the organization is an admin of the database can control and minimize the amount of information that can be exposed by the injection attack. So he has to control about that. So when coming to the broken authentication, before going to the broken authentication, first we will be able to know what is authentication. And what is authentication is a process or action of verifying the identity of a user, which means that action of proving something to be true, genuine, or valid. For example, if you're going, some of the people or students, if they want to go into the organization, some of the organizations are using biometric accessing and all. Suppose if an attacker want to enter into the organization, if he has to prove he is genuine and he is the one of the employee to the organization, then only he will be able to enter into the organization. So broken authentication is, it's a vulnerability to the login system. It's a vulnerability to the login system which provided the attacker to access the user accounts and even ability to compromise an entire system using an admin account. For example, if an attacker, suppose I am the attacker, I want to enter into the any organization system. So what I'll do, I'll hack the system. Login systems like Gmail logins, like any kind of thing. So how I will log in is I will maintain some of the usernames and password combinations that are obtaining in the data breach, like means confidential, private, and other sensitive information into the unsecurity environment. And I will use a script to try all these combinations for a login. If the system is login, I can able to do what admin can do. So this is the example of broken authentication. Prevention is we can use it. We can control broken authentication by using two-factor authentication, as well as limiting or denying the repeated login attempts using the rate limiting. Suppose I think you all are having Gmail account. If you are trying to log in for more than 3 times or 4 times, your account will be blocked or locked. or you can do security like two-factor authentication. One is for your recovery mail address and one is for your mobile. If anybody want to log into the system, you will be getting the message through your mail. That is, we can call it as a two-factor, or you can send one-time password and all to prevent broken authentication.
Yes, exactly, Nandini. So before let's go into some another attack, let's briefly explain one scenario case of SQL injection attack and broken authentication. So guys, I'm using my Facebook account and I have my Instagram and Facebook, all the things I have. Now you are the person to compromise my Facebook or some kind of login sites. So how we will do? And mostly you all do go for a brute force attack, right? So just go for a brute force attack. So don't know about the brute force attack, I will explain. Brute force is nothing but writing a 10 or some kind of any number of hundreds or 2000s or any kind of number of passwords, guessable passwords, and you note on the text pad and hit it on enter. Okay, so for an example, I'm an bike lover and I will do bike modifications and all. So this is my passion. And if you open my Facebook and if you might open Instagram, all you will get to know all the bikes only. So by this way, you can guys get mentality like I am a bike lovers or else I might do a bike modifications. So what might be my password? The same kind of a bike related things like bike modification things or else my first bike name or else these kind of guessable parts you will write and you will do it enter. So for an example, my first bike was let's take an example, RX100, Yamaha RX100. So I will keep my password as an Yamaha RX100, that's it. Or else RX100 my love. So these kind of passwords I will. So it's just easy guessable passwords by seeing my news feeds and all. So some guys will give a web series names, the date of birth names. Like this kind of passwords we can easily guess, right? So here, what is SQL injection main means? Without knowing any passwords, without knowing any guessable password, no need of a guessable password, no need of an original password. Just trying to manipulate the request and gain the access from the database. Now, I open the facebook.com. In the facebook.com, the login page, I type my name, Navid, and the password is my password I typed. What will happen in the backend of the Facebook? The Facebook will fetch my credentials from the database, whether it is right or wrong. Once it's fetched correctly, then my account will be open. My newsfeed and my personal charts and everything it is open, right? The same way, the communication between the web application to the database or else web application to web servers, there will be a communication authentication servers will be there. Right? Manipulating or else sending up malicious payloads to the database to fetch the login, anonymous login. How the queries will be like, how to do this kind of an attack. Means I will type my name Naveen and the password is my password as genuine. But while you're doing this kind of an attacks, you have to send some codes. The codes will be looks like 1:0 or 1/0, and this kind like this. It will be looks like this, and the codes and everything and the demo part you will get to learn. So that is a small part of an SQL injection without knowing any credentials, without knowing any guessable passwords and original passwords. Just by using the misconfigurations of a database and web application servers, by sending the malicious code like payload, like you all know about the virus, right? So the virus, what you will do, the mobile, my mobile, I think some compromised virus is attacked in my computer. This kind of things will there. The same way, the payloads, the term we can call it as a payloads by sending the payloads to the server. The server, what will think? Okay, the server will think like it's legitimate and it will use access. That's it. The Facebook, unknown person, the Facebook will be open. The say like this is the one of the SQL injection attack and sensitive and the sensitive data exposed will Nandini, please go on.
Yeah, Naveen. Okay, I'll continue. And this is the third most vulnerability in OWASP. And this is the sensitive data exposure. Sometimes a web application is not protective. At that time, the attacker is going into the website. He may get access to the sensitive information as if we have discussed like broken authentication. So he may be access to the sensitive data and he can get some crucial information like very sensitive, very sensitive informations like financial informations, passwords, and employee salary details, and employee bank accounts, like that he can get. So one of the popular method for stealing sensitive information is that one path attack, which means the attack will be happen between the two devices, often happen between web application and web browser, and this attacker can change the communication between the two devices. For example, any company details that are exposed to the Google search engines. Suppose if I want some, for example, any company, like any organization, they have, they didn't provide and they have updated the financial statements and everything, the sensitive information in Google search engine, and they didn't give any security to the those kind of information. What an attacker will do is, I maybe get the attacker can get the details with the Google search engines. Like if he searched any financial information, like if attacker go to the Google search engine, and if he search for the, for example, CSCC financial investments or anything else, he can search. If my company doesn't provide security to the files, he can get this file and he can sell it into the black market. So this is the example. So we can prevent it by minimize it by encrypting as well as disabling the cache of any sensitive information. Additionally, the web application developers should take care that ensures that there are not unnecessary storing for the sensitive data. For example, web browsers will often cache web pages so that if a user can revisit to store pages. Sometimes we are bookmarking the pages and we can able to revisit the pages. This is the example for that. And those revisited pages within a fixed time span, the web browser doesn't have any fetch of web pages from the web. So coming to the XML external entities. So before going to the XML external entities, we need to know the DTD, means document type definition. DTD contains declarations. It can be defined by the structure of an XML document and is the type of data values and other items. So the DTD is declared within the optional doc type element. So you can see this doc type. So we can say that this is the DTD form and DTD element. So doc type element to start off the XML document. The DTD can be fully self-contained within the document itself, known as internal DTD, and loaded from somewhere else, it is known as external DTD. What an external entities means, the entity or the type of custom entity, those definitions are located outside of the DTD when we can be able to declare as external entities. The declaration of the DTD external entity uses the system keywords and must specify the URLs. So we can able to specify the URL over here, and value of the entity. It should be loaded, for example, like this. So we have to, whenever we want to do XML external entities attack, we can do like this. If we want to include the file name after this external system, we can include the file here, like file :/ like this way. We can able to load any file from our from our system. When coming to the attack, this is an attack against a web application that passes XML input, and then the input can be reference for an external entity attempting to exploit an vulnerability in a parser. An external entity is the concept which will be referred to a storage unit such as hard drives. An XML parser can be dumped into sending a data to an unauthorized external entities, which can be process sensitive data directly to the attacker. How we can prevent XML external entities is we can prevent XSE attacks or to have web application access less complex type of data such as JSON, or we can patch the XML parsers and disable to use the external entities in an XML application. XML application means extensible markup language intended to read both human readable and machine readable. When coming to the JSON, JSON means JavaScript object notation is a type of simple human readable notation often used to transit data over the internet. When coming to the broken access control allows attacker to bypass authorization and performs tasks as though they were privileged users as an administrator. First, we will go through the access control. Access control is a security term used to refer a set of policies for restricting access to some information, tools, and physical location. So, for example, in an organization, only some files will be accessible for the employees and some files will be accessible for the other higher authorities. So the difference between authorization and authentication is the authentication is a security practice of confirming that someone is who they were claimed to be. So when coming to the authorization, it is the process of determining the level of access for each user is granted. I have given you example like some of the files will be accessed for only some people. So access control refers a system that controls the access to your information functionality. So broken access control, which will allow an attacker to bypass the authorization and it can be performed tasks. And when coming to the example, a web application could allow a user to change which account they were logged in. Suppose I am the attacker, and if I will be entered into the organization anyway, if I got the access to the organization, and if I got the admin access, I will be act as an administrator to a particular organization. I can maybe delete some of the users or some of the employees from the organization. So to prevent of this broken access control is we can able to secure by ensuring that the web application user authorization tokens and it can be set for the tight control on them. So coming to the security misconfiguration, it is the security misconfiguration is the most common vulnerability in WOWAS list. So this may be a result of using default misconfigurations and displaying exclusive verbose errors. Security misconfigurations are security controls that are inaccurately configured, left it insecure, putting your system or data to be under risk. Sometimes we won't delete our data like what all we are doing and we won't be able to delete it, or suppose we have forget to delete it. So suppose one employee and he is changing the company to the other employee. And the company have given to the laptop to the employee. And whenever he is going to the other organization, he has to submit that laptop to the current organization. So what he will do, he may be that forget of using or deleting the data. So that is also a security misconfiguration for him. It may be the next employee who uses his laptop, he can get the all details of all banking details or rest of other details of the employee. He can get it and he can do whatever he wants. And he suppose he can blackmail it, or he can do the configuration for making the account for his purpose and all will comes under the security misconfiguration. So the example of this is suppose if a web application paused for security misconfiguration, the errors will be debugging enabled, setup configuration pages are enabled, or default usernames or passwords are enabled, or incorrect folder permissions and all. It will come, and by seeing web application, if we see these kind of details, that will be a security misconfiguration of web application. So how we can prevent it? So we can prevent it by using limit access to the administration interfaces, and disabling debugging page, and disabling the use of default accounts and passwords, regularly path and update the software, and remove unused features. So this is the most common vulnerability, like cross-site scripting and XSS attack. So everyone has known about this. So cross-site scripting is a type of injection in which malicious scripts are injected into otherwise begin and untrusted websites. So cross-site scripting attack happens when an attacker send a script injected link to the victim. So for example, in Google, in Gmail, some of the members are getting like the advertisements, and this, if you click on this link, you will get some offers and all. So the like this way we can consider as a cross-site scripting attack. It may be that the sender of your mail is he may be attached these kind of scripts, and he can send it to you, and if you click on that, he may be can get access to your system. So the victim clicks on the link and the requested segment website. Then the victim browser loads the page along with the site of the malicious codes, and then send the attack also uploads. Suppose if I have sent a link to you, if you click on that link, along with that link, the malicious code also executed. So I have seen that two people has raised hands. Naveen, can you please take care of this?
Yeah, sure. It was raised in the before. Yeah, Purnima, any query? Yeah, okay. Nandin, you can continue.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Naveen, thank you. So where we are, yes, the website will load the page along with the malicious codes that sent by attacker. Means it executes in background, and the malicious script will send your private data into the attacker. It's also known, and we are calling this cross-site scripting as client-side code attack. For example, if an attacker could send an email to the victim that appears in the form of trusted bank, so with the link to the bank website. I have given you examples. If I am an attacker and you are the victim, I will send one bank form along with the malicious script to you. If you click on that link, and the malicious code will be executed, and I will get your private data. So this is the best example for cross-site scripting. And how we can prevent it is validating, sanitizing user-generated content, and by using the modern web application development frameworks like React.js and Ruby on the Rails, and these two are provided some of the built-in cross-site scripting attack protections. So when coming to the insecure deserialization, so first we need to know that what is serialization and what will be the deserializations. So what is serialization means, taking an object form and converting into the bytes of streams is the serialization. Deserialization is exactly opposite of serialization. For example, serialization is like packing furniture away into the boxes before we vacate the house. Deserialization is like unpacking the boxes and assemble the furniture as it is. And insecure deserialization is when an user controllable data is serialized by the website. What an attacker will do is, suppose you can see in this diagram, actual source is this. The data, the object of serialization will be stored like this in the base of attributes and attribute of bytes. Suppose what an attacker will do is he will modify the object like user equal to true and admin equal to true in the attacker surface, and if he send it to the website, website deserialization verification will happen, and it doesn't verify anything what attacker is sending, and it directly send it to the server. If the server will compromise that, and admin panel will be accessible to the attacker. For the attacker, it can be possible to replace the serialized objects. Like he can replace this by using anything like user equal to true or admin equal to true. He can modify user equal to Tom or anything, or admin equal to the administration, and he can get and he can give his name. He can add few more objects to this attacker phase, and he can send it to the website, and the deserialization site will doesn't verify anything, and it is directly sending to the server, and he can get the control of the admin panel. Not only admin panel, whatever thing he is trying to do, and he can get it, revert it back to the attacker. So to prevention of this is, the attackers is to profit the deserialization of data forms for the untrusted sources. So using components with known vulnerabilities, many modern web developers uses components such as libraries and frameworks in their web application. So, and these components are the piece of software that help of developers to avoid redundant work and provided needful functionality. Common example is we have to include front-end framework like React and smaller libraries that user to add or share the icons for A by B testing. Some attackers may look in these components, which they can be used to orchestrate attacks. Orchestrate attacks means DDoS attack. These attacks on your computer networks and interconnected infrastructure within the internet, and intended to intimate the coherence of a national and international group of the people or the organizations, and the political and social and personal objectives. For prevention of using components with known vulnerabilities is by developers should remove unused components from their projects, so we can prevent it by these kind of attacks. Last and final one is insufficient logging and monitoring. So many web applications are not taking enough steps to detect the data breaches. The average discovery time of breach is around 200 days after it happens. So what we will do, this gives an attackers to get the lot of time to cause damage before an organization is taking any response. So what OWASP is recommending to the web developers is, he has to implement, web developer should implement logging and monitoring as well as incident response plans to ensure that they are made aware of attacks on their web applications. So we are all doing this attacks by using burp suit. So why only burp suit means it burp suit is all in one tool. So burp suit is a set of tools for penetration testing of web applications. It is developed by a company called CodeSwigger. So what is burp suit and why it is used for is burp suit is aimed to be all in one set of tools, and it is capability to get can be enhanced by installing add-ons that are called by BWAPs. I'll show you what is where the BWAP store is and what we can get that and we can import it or export it by using that. And this is very popular tool among the professional web application security researchers and bug bounty. You can download and you can see the burp suit by using this official link. And let us go and check some of the few tabs in burp suit. So here we have dashboard, target. These are the burp suit tools. For community edition, if you go for the pro version, you can get more tabs for your personal purpose. So by using new scan, we can go for the new scan. When coming to the target, we have sitemap here, scope here. So let us discuss what is target and what is scope. And in target tool, it contains sitemap with the detailed information about your targeted applications. This is the targeted applications and the content and functionality. So you can see the status and the length. So it's a file like MIM type and the time request, like at what time we have requested these pages and all we can see. So this target is a web crawler that is used to map the web application. The object of the mapping is to get a list of endpoints so that the functionality can be observed and potential vulnerabilities can be found. So when coming sitemap, so it is just like what we gather information during our recon process. The more attack surfaces you process during actual testing. By using this site, we can able to send this to scope or remove it from scope. So scope is what exactly host and URLs are considered to be targeted for our current work. Scope defines which matches to the two list of rules. One is include list and one is exclude list. So when burp evaluates a URL to decide if that the URL is in the target, it will be deemed to be in the scope. If the URL matches at least one include rule and doesn't match any exclude rule. When coming to the proxy acts as a man in the middle between your browser and the server. And I mean destination to the server. This tells us that how intercept, inspect, and modify the raw traffic passing both directions. So you can see that get request. So here we can see that request and the response. This is the both ways. Like we are requesting to the server and the server is responding. So burp suit contain an intercepting proxy. So let us see how we can intercept. Oh, this is the browser. So if I go and type this, labs in burp suit, we have to on intercept on. So we are intercepting the request of CSCC labs. Like this, we can intercept. So for this, you need to do some modifications. You need to add the certificate in Firefox. that is called a CA certificate, then only you can able to intercept Firefox, I mean web application with the Burp Suite. So we can modify the contents of the request and the response while they are in transit. It also helps the user to send the request and response forms under the monitoring, and other relevant tool in Burp Suite is removing burden of copy paste. And so we can able to do copy paste, or else we can just simply send it to the repeater or anything like send it to the intruder. We can send, see this, we are getting this information here, or anything we can send it, no need to do the copy paste and all. So the proxy server can be adjusted on a specific loop back address. I'll show you the loop back address. This is the 127.0.0.1. Like by using this, we can able to do the connection between this Firefox and Burp Suite. So the proxy can also configure to filter out the specific types of request and response pairs. Burp maintains the full history of HTTP history for request and response that have been passed through the Foxy. This enables you to review browser server conversations to understand the web application functions, parameters, query meters, and headers, everything, and the response of the status codes and all we can able to study. So when coming to the intruder, so intruder is a fuser. Fusing is a testing automated software testing techniques like that involves of providing invalid, unexpected data and random data as an inputs to a computer program. This is used to run a set of values through an input point. The values are run and the output observed in success or failure forms. So intruder in Burp Suite will allow to do brute force and directory filing and single values for its payloads positions. Wherever we are doing brute force attack on passwords form and pin forms and such forms like login forms and registration forms, if we want to register and sign up, we can use this intruder. And the directory attacks on password forms fields that are expected to be being vulnerable to the XSS or SQL injections. By this intruder, we can configure multiple attacks for this target. This will be used to configure the details of the targeted server. So I have targeted the CSCC labs and the port number is this. When coming to the positions, so this will be used to configure the payload. So let us configure this. I will clear everything. Then if I want to attack it here, for example, I'll add this, and the end of this, I'll add this one. So like this, I will add the positions for the attack. Suppose I want to attack this cookie, for example, only I am telling. So I can add this this dollar and this dollar means I am adding the position and the position where I want to attack. And when coming to the payloads, so here we can use it to configure one or more set of payloads. So here I used only one payload. If I want to add other one, I can add it some. Wait. So here I have set it to payload positions. So here we can go on payload set one. So here I have to change the attack. So it is not changing. Simple list. So we have to do some modifications here. So payload set one, present payload is list is empty. So after setting the positions, we need to add a load. See, I don't have current positions like payload options. So if we want to attack the username, suppose our page is having the username and password. If I want to know the exact username, I'll set the payload for username and the password, and I will change the attack type, and after that I will have to set the payload and the list of the usernames. We have to add it over here in payload positions, and we can start the attack. So like this we can do. We can set how many payloads we want, like 1, 2, 3. See, the 2 also available. So we can set the 2 payload and simple list. Here we have so many payloads type. If we use simple list means it will comes under like 1, 0, A, B, C, D. Alphabets means alphabets, and the simple list means like special characters and all will come. Numbers means numbers will come. Date means dates will come. Null payload means 0. Like this, it will come over here, and we can start attack. When coming to the options, this is used to configure the numerous other positions offering for the attack. So this is about intruder. When we go for the repeater, what it will do is, this will let us know the user can send multiple requests. See, I have only sent one request. Suppose let us go to the proxy. So in HTTP history, we can just by click this and we can send it to repeater. Like this way, I have sent 2 requests. This is one request and this is one request. Like this way, we can send the multiple request just by one click. Just send it to repeater. So the repeater can handle number of requests like 143, more than 143. How many requests if you wanted, like how many requests are there in HTTP history, you can able to send it to the repeater. So it can maintain multiple requests to the server with the manual modification. So here you can able to modify, or you can able to delete, or you can able to add, or you can able to add. So these kind of modifications you can do, and you can able to analyze the response form. And repeater will be used for verifying whether the user supplied values are being verified, and what values of a server is expecting input. Suppose if I have sent the request and response will be given as this kind of parameter is missing, and you can able to add it to the request. Like that, the response will give instructions to us, and we can, this is repeater is useful for the server handle unexpected values, and is the input sanitation is being applied by the server. So and also we have an option for copying the response. So I'll show you the option. We will be copying the URL, and we can able to browse this. Like this, or we can directly give request in browser in original session, copy, and we can paste it over here. Like this we'll get.
Yes, good, nice. So guys, this is a bug shoot where the tool where the attackers are going to use, or as a bug bounty the people will use. So the main agenda of this bug shoot was to intercept the traffic. So the word we are using, the intercept, some people didn't understand the intercept. It's like a kind of the, now see what happens. I'm using my mobile. Okay, if I have a data balance, so it is fine. If I using the Wi-Fi, so I went to one coffee shop or some any kind of a Wi-Fi shop. I went there and I connected free Wi-Fi there. And now I'm scrolling my Instagram or else some any kind of login sites or any kind of things I'm scrolling. The source is I have connected the Wi-Fi from the third-party vendors. Okay, from my mobile I'm going to access. This burp shoot will sit on the network level. Okay, this is a lab setup where if you implement this lab setup clearly, perfectly, so who are the persons which connected to the Wi-Fi, all the traffic will have to comes to the this burp shoot. We can able to capture and then we can able to transfer or else we can able to drop or else we can redirect to our fake websites. So these are all things we can able to manipulate in the by doing the website by doing this burp shoot. So now today we are going to give some demo on the website. So how the website people, how the attacker is going to crack the website and all. So we have an privileged one lab facilities also there. So Nandini, are you ready with the lab?
Yes, Naveen.
Yes, good. Now we are going to give a demo on the how the attacker going to penetrate into the web application. So this so far now almost 1.5 hours we touch about the application attacks. So the theoretical part has been done, and then the practical approach of the burp shoot, the introduction has been completed. So how we can able to intercept, and now combine these two technologies, these two terms. What are we learned now? We are going to demo part. In this demo, there is some one web application is there. Okay, so that is a lab setup we have done only, and we have some code software developers is there, and the good one the persons they have been developing this page. So we hosted the web page internally, so it's not available on the AWS. It's internally hosted. Now the attacker, how he will crack that website? Okay, that is a challenge we are going to do, and I think almost 5 to 6 vulnerability attacks we are going to demonstrate now. So carefully observe how we are going to crack the website and make a note. And then if anyone have queries also let me know. This will be helpful. And now session and the tomorrow session also will be most helpful. So please be concentrated. Nandini, you are up with the lab.
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. So now we'll see some of the, not some, only 3 or 4 attacks on our CSCC buggy site. So this is a CSCC buggy site. So we'll perform 3 or 4 attacks in this site. So first we will perform on login page. So I will
Yes, and now guys, here the problem was like we hosted the website. So this website is a bank website. Now we all have an SBI online bank and right. So we have some online banking. Okay, now if anyone have the online banking, like for an example, I have an SBI online. Okay, I logged in. I'll open the website. There it will ask the credentials, username and the password. In the same way, we designed it one buggy bank. Like buggy means it's just name CSCC buggy bank. So it is on a website and where the database of the bank balance and the credit card details and everything will be stored. The same like SBIonline.com. So we created it. Now what's the attack? What's the thing we have to do? We have to go for a login. So as I said earlier, if you know my behavior activities and if you know my well things, so you will get to know my passwords and guessable passwords or direct passwords. Now in this condition, you don't know my name. Okay, you don't know the guessable passwords also. Now how the attacker will enter into the website? So that is a challenge now we are going to do. So Nandini, please go ahead.
So now we discussed about let us see that how I am logging into this buggy bank. I'll log in 2 ways. Like one is one attack we will call it as a security misconfiguration, and one will be we will be calling is an by SQL injection. So let us try to do some by using using default credentials. So this admin and the password is this. By using default credentials, let us see how I am able to log in. So by using default credentials, I have logged in into the bank account. See here, I can see that user IDs, passwords, and account type. The status is live and active. We can able to deactivate the account. Suppose this is for example only, if the hacker really have entered into the bank account and got these kind of details, means you will just think that how and what he can do with these kind of details. It's about your knowledge only. And he can able to he can able to transfer money from these accounts to his account, and he can able to deactivate this account, and this or everything he can do. So this is using default credentials I have logged in. So let us log in with other one. So now I am injecting SQL code. So we can call it as an SQL injection, like quotation, single quotation. So this means that select username and password from users where the username is single quote, or 1 equal to 1 means where no class, it will be always true. So all records will be retrieved. So same for the password also. I have logged into the account. You can see this. This is the account for the attacker, and he can able to transfer money, and he can able to see if there are any load and card numbers. You can able to see. So this is one type of SQL injection attack. So when coming to this, so here we have, I think you all people are having bank accounts and account numbers, but let us try for the account number of 123, and the amount will be some 50,000. I mean, it is restricted to 5,000 only. So let us transfer. See, amount of 5,000 to the account for 123 has been transferred. So there is no server side verification. Suppose if you are really entered into the bank account, and if you are typing, if you want to send money from your account to the other account, if you miss one number also in account number, it will be saying that this account number is invalid. You must have to try it again. So, but here it is not saying anything. It's keep on doing. And let me go for the other transfer. See, this is not an account number. So there is no any verification from server side. So let us go for the client side verification. So here, if we give name, it is taking numbers. So if we give mail name, and the phone number, if I will give alphabet, and the message will be hello. If I submit this, it has submitted. So there is no input verification. I mean, we can just say so no client side verification is happening. Whenever if you are creating a Gmail account or any other account, if you are using name or anything like alphabets, so you can able to get that. And the email, if you use like at the rate of ABC, means it is saying that just please enter a valid email number. And the phone numbers, if you enter alphabets, it will say that please enter valid numbers. And the message also, message, it will be the plain text or anything. And we can let us go and see that how cross-site scripting will happen. So here I am attaching the malicious code of simple JavaScript. And so the search results, the alert is 1. Like I have done a simple mistake. Let me close the script. See, cross-site scripting is this. We have two types of cross-site scripting. One is reflected and other one is stored. Reflected means it will reflect like this. Stored means it will be storing in the background and displaying on the screen.
Yes. So why this attack has been came into an OS top 10? So it is not in a that much of vulnerable, right? By seeing this kind of attacks, we can say that by appearing the one, it's not a big deal. But the problem is the cross-site scripting, like the script which Nandini has implemented is just appearing of one, pop-up of one. In the case of pop-up of one, there will be some warning message like currently this website has been underwent to some circumstances. So please log in with this below link. So like this, they will give one link, fake link to you. So what you would think, I have appeared in the original website, but I got this pop-up message, and what I will do, I will click that link. The once click the link, what will happen? There will be a malicious malwares or any kind of things, it will be downloaded in your laptop or mobiles. Or else, if you redirect to other website, okay, the hacker's website, so he will play with you. And he will say it will be looks like an all genuine process, and in the finally he will ask for money. So what you will think, okay, I'm going to buy. So actually this price is 1,000 rupees. Now it's a price of 200 rupees by applying the coupon code. What will happen? You will be happy like I'm getting in 200 rupees. You pay the 2,000 rupees to him, and 800 rupees cashback will be done after 30 minutes, 30 days. Like this, they will say some story. What you will do? You will pay 1,000 rupees to that account. That's it. So like this, there is a number of chances the people will do this kind of an activities, or else they will steal the cookies. There will be a cookie stealing will also happen. The cookies like storing all the your saved passwords, or else like kind of all the things, it will be stored in browsers, bookmarks, everything they can able to steal. So that is one of the big problem, the big mistake in the cross-site scripting attack. And you all see the SQL injection attack, right? So what will happen? I didn't mention any username or the password, just I typed the some code payload. So the username and the password, that's it. We entered into the account and we transfer the amount. The same way there is a number of payloads will be there to enter into a login, SQL injection, and a cross-site scripting attack. Yes, Nandini.
Yes, Naveen. So now we have seen a few types of attacks. So Naveen has told everything. So he reduced my time to discuss. And yes, finally, based on this OWASP top 10, a web pen tester can perform all these kinds of attacks and he will make a report. So what an organization will do is, based on what pen tester made a report, an organization can say that how secure the website is and how we have to prevent. If the attacks are present, they can prevent it by using the report, and based on the other international standards like SANS and GDPR. So these are the CSCC social network sites. So if you have, if you want to follow, just follow us on CSCC Labs social network sites for the news, blogs, and reviews. And you can go for the CSCC website and get the details of our company. In Twitter, we have updating Twitter blogs, and LinkedIn, we are updating our company details. And the Medium, we are updating some of the blogs that are related to the OWASP. And contact of CSCC Labs is email at the contact@of CSCC Labs. These are the social network.
And this the website will help you a lot, guys. Why? Because we have a wonderful research team where we will find the new bugs and new security flaws and be updated in the link, our social media platform. So it will be the main agenda of the CSS Labs was to help give the social awareness. So if you follow us in the I am not saying, I'm not recommending the follow on. You just see the content in the CSS Labs and where you will get the enough of knowledge. Like we are posting the weekly blogs, newsletters, and new payloads, like how to approach kind of an attacks. So once you visit our channels, and you will be feel wow, that is sure. And that's much of a content we provide in our all the social media websites, like I follow on the Twitter, LinkedIn, Medium. And if you have any personal queries on any kind of relation of things, there is always we are welcome with contact at csslabs.com. So this is all for our the social media platform. And we have in a one chat box, I have in a one message, the query. Sir, the social engineering attack user getting all the details, attacker, the hacker, or the SQL injection the site. Here we have to discuss the two kinds. The person is asking the question like, can we do a social engineering? Sir, now I'm doing the social engineering attack. By doing social engineering attack, I can get the username and the password. Is this attack similar for a SQL injection or not? So this is a question this guy has been asked. Here the two ways. Social engineering, by doing social engineering attack, we can get only the credentials, genuine credentials of the particular user, right? Now, by doing the social injection, SQL injection attack, we don't know any password and credential. We don't know to send any malicious link to the persons, right? So just by inserting our payloads, by interchanging the communication between a database and website, we can able to directly log into any web application. So that is different. By doing the SQL injection attack, by doing the SQL queries, by doing the SQL injection attacks, what we can able to get, we can get control of entire database. So once we got the entire control of a database, that's it. So entire web application is under control, and we can able to see all the data, credentials, and all the persons we can able to see. So that is the power of an SQL injection attack, and that is the difference between social engineering attack and SQL injection attack. And guys, I will do some small favor from my side. So this was a very beautiful sessions, just honored by the Bharatiya University and Hackup Technologies. So I was so happy to be at the CSS Labs in the part of this 2 days training program. And I hope that this lesson, this 2-hour seminars, you will get a lot of information on the web application security and how the attackers is really penetrating to the web application as well. Now, let us use this knowledge for the further step. So by knowing this kind of attacks, what you will gain? If you attend the tomorrow session, you will definitely get to know about the, you will feel like, hey, what kind of a job? I don't want to do any job. If I have a knowledge, and I will go for a bug bounties. So this is the way you will approach, or if you attend for the tomorrow's class. So today is the basics of a web application penetration attacks, web application attacks. And the tomorrow the bug bounty will be starts. Okay. So thank you, Nandini, for taking the session. And thank you, Punitavali ma'am, for organizing this one. Nandini, anything need to add?
No. Thank you, ma'am, for giving such a wonderful opportunity for me and Naveen, and for CSCC Labs to explore our CSCC Labs in your webinar. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Nandini and Mr. Naveen, for giving this wonderful session. Hope the participants were enjoying and they have learned something new in today's session. As like one word I need to mention, like Bug Bounty is a platform and web pen testing where the person can able to earn and learn. Like this is a thing they can do. So that was a wonderful session. So tomorrow we are expecting more, like today as like the wonderful session, the knowledge, like the pack of more vulnerabilities, and you have explained the tools like BurbSort and everything. Like hope the session was useful for the participants, and thank you for the participants for attending this wonderful session on behalf of Hackup Technology Private Limited. So I thank everyone for attending this session, and thank you Naveen and Nandini for giving this wonderful talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As for your initiation and the Bharatiya initiation, only we are able to give this much of a delivery, sir. It's all your things. It's so happy to be in the part of this webinars.
Thank you.
And surely, and I will say that surely you will enjoy the tomorrow also, sir. By we having some Narasimha is there and was an experienced person in the bug bounties and doing the new kind of web application attacks, and we are going to get him in the tomorrow part. And surely we will going to give us some real world examples and real world attack scenarios also. We are going to demonstrate tomorrow, and I hope it will be enjoy for the tomorrow's session.
Yeah, thank you. Waiting for your session tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.